Friends, welcome to my channel. Dhanesh here. So in this video, I am going to discuss about Java interface. Let's start on this. Interface, it's one of the important concepts in Java programming. It is another way to achieve abstraction in Java. Abstraction, you may be familiar, it is one of the important OOP concept, object-oriented programming concept in Java. The main object-oriented programming concepts are encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, we discussed. So abstraction is an important OOP concept, object-oriented programming concept in Java, and it is implemented by using interface. How to use interface? See, interface must be implemented by another class with the implements keyword. We use implements keyword to implement the interface. You need to understand that. I have shown it in red color. So implement. See, when in the case of inheritance we already discussed, right? In the previous videos we discussed inheritance. When we use inheritance, we use the keyword extend. You may be familiar with extend is the keyword we use, extends. See, extends is used along with classes. One class will extend another class. You are familiar with that. In the previous videos we discussed. So in the case of interface, we need to use implements. Implements is the keyword we use in the case of interface. Very important. Next is what are the characteristics of interface? You need to understand there are different characteristics. Interface, it is one of the, as I told you, it is one of the important concept in Java. Interface methods do not have a body. See, the implementation is left up to the developer. See, the developer can implement the interface in his own way. In the interface, the methods do not have a body, so it is implemented by the developer. See, interfaces, we can create an object of the class by using the new operator, but interface cannot be used to create objects. You need to understand, interface cannot be used to create objects. Next is, again I am continuing with the characteristics of interface. On implementation of an interface, see, you must override all of its methods. For example, if I have an interface, let's have interface, my interface, I have an interface and I have one method, two method, there are three methods. See, when a class implements these interfaces, all these three methods must be overridden. You understood the point? So if an interface is having 10 methods, then when you implement that interface in your class, you have to override all the methods. Very important. That's another important point. Next, very important point, interface methods are by default abstract and public. All the methods, it's by default, it's abstract and public. See, you won't use the keyword there, abstract, but by default it is an abstract method. Abstract method, sorry. See, abstract keyword we discussed in the previous video, right? So all the methods in the interface are by default abstract and public. You won't mention that method as abstract, but it is an abstract method, very important. Next is again I am continuing the characteristics of interface. See, apart from methods, our interface, my interface, our interface can have methods, you can have, and attributes also you can have. Inside the interface you can have attributes, right? Interface attributes are by default public. The access modifier public, it is visible everywhere. Static means it's like a class variable. You can access that variable, that attribute, without creating the object. Final means when it comes with an attribute, it acts as a constant, right? Final can be there with we discussed in the previous video. Final can be with a attribute, it can be with a method, it can be with a class. When it comes with a method, it prevents overriding, that cannot be overridden. When it comes with a class, it avoids inheritance. So the characteristics of final keyword. So an interface cannot contain a constructor. So there is no constructor an interface contains. So there is no constructor inside an interface. That's another characteristics. Next is you can implement multiple interfaces. A class, I have my class, it can implement multiple interface 1 comma interface 2 comma, like that. You can have multiple interfaces. An interface can extend another interface. When an interface extend another interface, you will use the extend keyword. You understood? An interface can extend another interface. That's another important. A class extends another class. In the same way, an interface can extend another interface, but a class implements another interfaces. You understood this? So this is another important point you need to understand. So what is the use of interfaces? Why we are using interfaces? When I discussed about abstract classes, at that time also I told it's for security. Our application must be secure. There are a lot of data that is to be hidden from the outside world. So we use interfaces, abstract classes for a lot of security. That's another important point. Java does not support multiple inheritance. That we already see. That is one important point we need to understand. So this drawback is it can avoid this multiple inheritance is achieved with interfaces. But when you learn C++ programming, it supports multiple inheritance. But Java doesn't support multiple inheritance. It is achieved with interfaces. If you want to go for multiple inheritance, in the sense that you want to implement, you can use interfaces, but in class level in Java we don't have multiple inheritance. Now these are all the characteristics of interfaces. Now let's do some code in Eclipse IDE. So this is, I have the package, my package here. Let me code one interface I am having. I will use the keyword interface. So I have a interface, let it be animal. I have the interface here. So this is my interface. So there are two methods. We can have different methods here. So let's have so I told you all the methods are by default, it's public abstract no need to mention here. See, I have a public void animal sound. This is one method. So there is no implementation. You need to put a semicolon here. So I put a sorry at the end. You need to put a semicolon here. So because the body is not there in the case of, see, there is a public, it's showing an error, so it is public. See, public void animal sound. This is the one method I have written. Now another method I am writing it as public void, public void sleep. This is another method. Then you need to put the semicolon. So these two methods, see, you can see here there is no body. The implementation is left up to the developer. The developer has to implement that interface. That's what. Now I am taking another class. See, I am taking another class that is going to implement this interface. So I have a class cow. I have cow, that which keyword I will use to implements animal, that is implementing this animal. Now I need to implement those methods. See, those methods already present in the animal interface is to be implemented in this class. So let's have the animal sound. See, I am going to implement it. See, our method is public void animal sound. See, I am going to implement it. See, I can write it here. See, public void animal sound I am going to implement. Public void animal sound. This is the method. So this method I am not going to implement here. See, implements animal. So you can see one error is showing here, right? So because the sleep is not overridden. See, I told you, when you implement a method, implement an interface, all the methods must be overridden here. If I override that method as well, that will be gone. See, I am writing public void sleep, then its body is to be implemented. Now you can see that error is gone. That is one important point you need to understand. When you implement an interface, all the methods must be overridden. Okay, fine. So now public void animal sound, that implementation part I am going to take care. So you will write it like, it's a system dot out dot println. It's producing a voice like ma, like that one voice we put it. See, that's like that. Now how it is sleeping there, that method also we are going to implement here. See that we will create a different sound there. See, when it sleeps, the cow, let us assume that it will create a sound like that. It's creating a sound. So we implemented these two methods inside the cow class. Now I am going to write the class. I have the class my class. See, I have my class here, my class. Inside that I have the main method, right? It has to, that class, we have the main method here. So I am going to write it public static void main string args. So those methods, it's also written public static void, sorry, it is void, I corrected it. Now inside this main method, you can have your class pick or my pick, right? Sorry, you can have your class, it is cow. So I'm creating an object of this cow, my cow, an object of this is equal to new cow. So it is created. You need to put the semicolon, it's created. Fine. It's it is not used, so we have to. So now by using this my cow, what I can do, I can call these methods like dot, you can have animal sound, right? It's you can call, then you can call my cow dot, it's another method, it is, you can have sleep as well, right? My cow dot sleep also you can call. So I am going to, that's also you can implement here. So it's done. So what we have done, this is the interface, this interface I have it here, then the class is extending that interface, and inside the main method I have, calling this methods present in the interface, and it is implemented in the class cow. So let's run this program, we will see. One second. Yeah, it's giving the output, right? So it's giving. Now I told you, right, it is you can have multiple interfaces by using comma. So if I have another interface, like I'm telling some in interface, my interface, I have this my interface, and you have this. So when the class, if you want, how you will do, you will put comma animal, comma, what you will write, this you can implement here, sorry. Control V. This will work, it won't give any error, even though if you are running this program, that's so multiple interfaces you can implement in a class by using comma. Another thing is, as I told you, one interface can extend, not implement another interface. See, extends animal. This is another thing. Here you can this interface, my interface, extends animal. At that time you won't, here you need to understand, you won't use the implement keyword. It's like in inheritance, see, one class extends another class. In the same way you will use extends, you won't use the implements. If I run this program, you can see it here. See, it's working. So 2 points I told you. One is, one class can implement multiple interfaces by using comma. You need to use comma. And at the same time, another point you need to understand is one interface can extend another interface. See, I have this interface extends animal. It's possible. So that's all about interfaces. I covered almost all the aspects related to interfaces. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks a lot.